And welcome back, everybody. How are you all doing today? Today, we are going to be finishing up the thing for E3. My mouse cursor is
Yay!
some reason invisible on there. Now it's back. I
Oh,
don't know why. Chrome has been doing that lately. Where like for some reason it'll like disappear my mouse cursor. I don't know why. But anyway, we're good
yeah,
now.
that's a little weird.
A little bit. But yeah. So today we're going through part 2 of checking out the games from 2001. The thing that we've been doing, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, as you heard, Megan is here. And Megan, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, let's go.
Devil May Cry!
Yeah, so starting off strong with some DMC. So we're going through the PS2 games first, I see.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, we'll also 2 times speed it, as is tradition.
Yeah.
And there's Jack.
I love Jack and Daxter.
So it's probably just showing us like a bit of a collage of games before it goes into the usual thing that it does.
Probably.
I don't know why it'd be doing that for this. It's a bit strange. I guess maybe it's someone like videotaping the collage from the show floor.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, I will say though, 2001 seemed like a pretty stacked year for good games and even innovative games like with SOCOM here, right?
Yeah. They definitely had a lot of unique games come out this time period. A lot of what would probably be considered classics, too.
Yeah. Like, I would certainly have to agree with that. And not just for like one specific console, but you have like a lot of consoles with a lot of good games. Because like even picking between like which of the conferences was the best, I mean, to be fair, I really only chose Sony because, well, I know they showed off a lot more games, I guess, right?
They did, yeah.
So yeah, network adapter, man, look at that. You can go online on your PS2, right? Imagine
That's
that.
pretty crazy.
To be fair, I don't know if this is actually on the PS2. I'm not sure. It showed the PS2 before. Maybe it's just saying, oh, look, you can go online on Netscape or something.
I mean, I assume Netscape would use a network adapter.
Possibly. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, Netscape web browser, presumably on the PS2. See, isn't that pretty neat, though?
Yeah.
In America Online, which doesn't exist anymore in Real Player, apparently, huh? 1 Mbit. Man, it's kind of weird. These don't exist anymore. Netscape, I'm pretty sure, is dead.
Yeah.
20 Mbits. I know. I know Real Player is dead, basically, right?
Yeah.
And America Online is definitely dead. Dude, imagine paying like per minute of internet usage.
Yeah, I'm glad we never had internet during that time period.
Megan would have been like, I'll spend $1,000 on the internet. State of emergency. You wouldn't have done that. I know you wouldn't have. It would have been really annoying. So I played this game, and it was actually pretty fun. The whole premise of the game is there's a riot happening. That's it. It's by Rockstar, of course. And you can kill peeps. I don't know if there's actually a plot. I think it's just like a high score game, if I'm being honest.
Oh, okay.
I'm not. I really don't remember. I did play it because I thought it was really weird that it was like, oh, it's a game about being in a riot. You know.
I mean, it does sound pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. So you do get missions. So I guess I guess it's. You have the levels, and on the levels there are riots happening, and I guess you can take missions during the riots. I don't know what the timer is on the upper right.
I mean, that's probably the timer you have left for the stage.
That could be for the stage, or that could just be for the demo.
Maybe.
Because I doubt they would have you do like a mission-based game with a timer going the whole time. But I don't really know. On Spider-Man the movie. I recently picked
Oh.
this one up, actually, to
Yeah.
play eventually for a Spider-Man-a-thon, which I'm planning. We'll see when that happens, but I'm planning it. Yeah, very loosely follows the movie, from what I remember.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
It's like
Oh, he just went right into the helicopter.
he did. Because have you ever played it?
I don't think so. I only ever played Spider-Man 2.
Oh, okay. Because, like, from what I remember, like, it follows the movie and it has, like, the movie cutscenes, but you have other
Oh,
little,
okay.
like, things that aren't canon to the movie. Like, I think you got to go into a subway system to fight the Shocker, which isn't in the movie, believe it or not. So it's neat. I think I want to see you fight the Vulture as well. I don't remember, but it's like these little stages that just happen.
Okay.
And it's like, oh, that's neat. And see, this is back before like they made him swing on actual buildings. You're still just shooting the web into the sky and swinging on nothing, really. It's neat though.
Yeah. It was really cool they were able to actually swing from the buildings in Spider-Man 2, though.
Yeah, right? Like, I actually thought... Now, see, it's really weird, because when I first played Spider-Man 2, and I'm like, oh, you swing from buildings? First, I was like, okay, that's cool. Then I was like, okay, but yeah, is that going to limit my movement? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It just makes it cooler, you know? It's really cool. I like swinging from... See, it's kind of weird to say, like, oh, I want my Spider-Man game to be kind of realistic. But it's kind of true. I want to be able to swing from the building, you know?
I mean, it definitely feels better swinging from buildings.
Yeah. Classic DBZ games, of course.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever played this DBZ game.
I don't think I would have. I would have played some of the Budokais, but I never would have actually played like this. But it might be fun. To be fair, maybe it's kind of like Kakarot. It kind of looks like it might be an open world-ish DBZ game. I could be wrong.
I mean, maybe.
But I get that vibe from it. And of course, this was like during the peak of DBZ, you know?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure DBZ peaked in like it would have been around the same time as Pokemon, I'm pretty sure. Like 1990 to like 1999 to like the 2000s, like early-ish 2000s, I'm pretty sure.
Probably, yeah.
Like in North America, I'm pretty sure it was already out in Japan doing numbers. But like in North America, I'm pretty sure this is roughly when it peaked. Classic Wipeout. Yeah, I find it kind of neat that we've seen a good couple of Wipeouts at these like E3s. You know, I kind of forgot how big of a game it was, the game series.
Yeah, I did too, because I never played any of the Wipeout games. I didn't even really know about Wipeout until like on the PS3 when they had the PSN hack. They were giving out a bunch of games. I think I picked Wipeout as my second game.
Nice. See, it's interesting though, because like I've completely forgot Wipeout existed, but I remember playing it. I don't know why it didn't stick out in my mind. Maybe as I've like gotten older, maybe I'm like, oh, I'm clearly thinking of F-Zero, right?
Yeah.
When no, you're actually thinking of Wipeout, you know?
I mean, that's true. It doesn't exactly stand out from the pack.
I mean, not really. And I don't know, I hear Wipeout and I think, oh, a boat game for some reason. I don't know why, you know? So I'm like, oh, it's a boat racing game, clearly. I do like how it's called This is Football. Hyphen soccer. Well, not hyphen soccer, but parentheses soccer.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
World Rally Championship. You know, I will admit, I do like the idea of rally racing. I think it's pretty unique. Just because that's where you have the co-driver, right? Or co-pilot. I don't know what they call them. But he's like the guy that's like sitting in the passenger seat giving out calls, and he has like a map on him. He's like, okay, there's a turn here, turn this way. Yeah, it's neat.
Okay, I didn't realize that was a thing in rally racing. I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's kind of what sets it apart from like some other, because I think it's more based on time, right? As opposed to like, are you racing other people? Because yeah, I'm pretty sure you don't race other people. It's just like a clock system. But I could be wrong. I don't really know that much about rally racing. I just know they have like a co-driver. And they're like, okay, sharp turn right, hard turn left, right? Coming up like
Yeah.
so many meters. This guy's not listening to his co-driver. Subaru. I know that VTuber. Yeah, this guy's struggling a bit.
Little bit.
That's kind of a theme with the people that record these, though. It seems like whoever they get to record them don't generally play driving games, and I don't blame them because I'd probably be the same way.
I mean, probably, because to be fair, these are industry journalists and stuff, so it's possible they don't even really play games at all.
Man, I hope they would. if
I would hope they
event,
would,
I hope they would.
But we've seen clips, okay? I know of the Cuphead tutorial.
I mean, same. Now, to me, it'd just be weird to go to like a gaming industry insider event and be like, yeah, I don't play games.
You never know.
I mean, it's true, it could happen, but like, I don't know, I would expect them to at least play some games.
I mean, you would think so.
Yeah, I do like the facial animations on these guys. These guys seem like they have pretty good facial animations.
Yeah, seems good.
We saw this one in the conference, right?
I want to say yes.
I'm not gonna lie, sports games kind of blur together a bit for me after a while.
Yeah, I don't really have much interest in sports games.
But it's kind of the same thing, right? So if Megan and I ever kind of like just don't say anything during a sports game, it's like, okay, well, number one, what do you really say? And number two, like, yeah, Megan and I are kind of like not biased against them. We just don't really play them much, you know?
Yeah.
It's not even like I'm against sports. Like I actually do like sports. I don't watch them much, mind you, but like I'll watch a hockey game. I don't really mind, or like a game of football or soccer. I'll give them a watch. You know.
Yeah, I used to watch the odd one here and there. I don't know. I've just never really been all that interested in sports. And I mean, the games I've played for sports games, none of them have been necessarily bad. To me, it doesn't seem worth the money. Because I won't play it. Let's be real.
I mean, yeah, fair. And I would say, like, oh, Megan, we should multiplayer it. Like, honestly, it would be kind of funny to see you try playing a sports game.
No.
So I do find it interesting that they like cut through some of the other games relatively quickly, but they're sticking on hockey for a while. Not too sure why. Like I say, I swear I'm not a hater or anything. I'm just surprised. Cause like I don't know.
Yeah, it does seem a little weird to me.
Yeah, cause like you don't need to really stick on a hockey game for that long. You see it and it's like, okay, yeah, it's hockey. Yeah. Oh, look at her dance.
I don't know.
Go.
Maybe sports games sold a lot more back then.
I mean, they probably did. Well, I think like I said before, right? I feel like back then, football especially, and like NASCAR, and probably sports in general, had a Dynasty Warriors 3. Nice. I want to get this game sometime.
Yeah.
But I feel like they had a lot more interest. Like I feel like sports is just more popular back then, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Like not to say like it's not popular now. Millions of people still watch sports. But
That they do.
yeah. Nowadays I feel like more people are like play video game.
A video game?
What sport, right? And then some people do both.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people generally.
I'm not either.
Yeah, Dynasty Warriors is pretty sick. So, for one thing I have planned actually, and it's something I've talked to Megan about, is eventually I want to own like a good number of the Dynasty Warriors games, especially the first few.
Yeah.
Because they're really not that expensive to buy, at least not from what we've seen. So at some point we could probably pick up like what the first 4 for like a decent price.
Yeah, I think
At the
last
very
time I
least.
checked when we went to our local retro store, it was like $10 to $20 for each of them. So to get like Dynasties 2 through 5 or something was roughly $100.
Yeah,
Like,
which
it wasn't bad.
it's not really that bad. And like I do think they'd be fun, and I do like I know it's literally the romanticized version of the Three Kingdoms, but I like the Three Kingdoms period. Okay, it's cool as hell. And even if some of the things about it are pretty outlandish, like I mean, I don't know, it's a neat story. And I don't know, then you got to think, well, Three Kingdoms, what did happen, what didn't? Yeah, did this sick ass duel happen? Maybe, who knows, right?
Yeah, maybe, who knows?
I don't know. I always did enjoy like the larger than life kind of stories, which may actually be true to an extent. And I kind of like that stuff, you know?
It is fun.
Like with the whole Romance of Three Kingdoms stuff. It's like, oh, you have, yeah, guy protecting his master, his lord, and like to prevent his capture and to help his lord escape, he fights off like 50 dudes, right? Manages to come. It's like, did that happen? I don't know. Could have. Honestly, probably did, right? To an extent. Maybe it's a bit embellished. But it's kind of cool to think about, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Anyway, Kissin 2, which with Guan Yu, funnily enough. So I guess, does Kissin 2 take place in China? Yeah, Liu Bei.
Maybe?
Really? I didn't know that about Kissin 2. I thought it still took place in Japan. So that's interesting. See, because last year, I believe, we were able to talk about Kessen, which
Yeah.
I could talk a fair bit about Kessen. Like I said, never played Kessen 2. So I find it interesting, though, they went from Japan to China, but it makes sense, right?
It does.
Especially since it's a Koei game already, right?
Yeah.
Just literally use your Dynasty Warriors models, right? Oh yeah, and have magic as well. That's right. This one has magic in it. Guess what? Much like Dynasty Warriors, funnily enough. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe they saw how big Dynasty Warriors was, and they're like, okay, Kessen 2, Dynasty Warriors, but as an RTS kind of game. It's like, yeah, let's go for it. I will say, it does look pretty cool, actually. I kind of want to get it.
I thought you had Kessen too.
No, I have Kessen 1. Sauru.
Okay,
no,
I thought you would have bought both of them.
No, I didn't intend to get Kessen 2 because I wasn't really too sure if I'd enjoy it, to be honest, because I knew very little about it. So I was going to play Kessen
Okay.
1 and then toy with the idea of getting Kessen 2. After watching this, I might get Kessen 2.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I don't think it's that expensive when we've seen it. Because I have seen it a couple times.
No,
when
it's
we've
like
gone out.
$20, I think.
Yeah. So, yeah, I might grab it. I might grab it next time we're out.
Sounds good.
Because I believe Game City has it, right?
Yeah, I think I saw it at Next Wave last time we were there too.
Yeah. And to be fair, Maggie, we don't need to always say local game store. Sometimes I say that just for like the funds, but
Yeah, I know.
I'm not trying to hide it in case you think, because like I've mentioned Next Wave before, right?
Yeah.
I have no reason to hide it. And besides, people can look it up and go, Next Wave, oh, he lives in like Edmonton. I'm like, I've already talked about that. You know?
Yeah, I know, that's fair.
Like I believe I've been pretty clear on stream that I live in Edmonton.
I think you have, yeah.
And even then, right? It's like, oh, if people trying to dox you, it's like, first off, if you manage to find out what my full real name is, like obviously we have, you know, Matt/Matthew is my first name. Even if you manage to like suss out my entire real name, you're gonna find like thousands of me, to be honest.
Yeah, you've got a super common name. I also have a super common name.
Well, the last name, yeah, debatable.
Yeah, but I don't think we've said my last name, and not that I really don't want to.
No,
just to be clear.
No, we haven't said your last name. We haven't said your last name. I just thought you meant like your full name was common.
No, it's just my first name is very common, because obviously there's a lot of Megans.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, your first name is pretty common. But to be fair, no one could really guess your last name, even if they tried.
I mean, most likely not.
Because it's like, see, we both have like the opposite thing, right? My first, middle, and last name, super common. Look it up. Like I say, you'll find thousands of me, like literally, more than likely. With you, I mean, harder to find, but at the same time, if anyone tried to guess your last name, it's not going to happen.
Probably not.
You know. So we had Dropship, which I believe we saw earlier, which looked pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
Now Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Is this the first Baldur's Gate?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. I actually did buy this game relatively recently, too.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, that's right. You showed it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
haven't got around to playing this or the second game, but...
Yeah. Because I've never played a Baldur's Gate either. I wouldn't mind it. I've heard good things. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's why I'm not like... Yeah, that's why I'm never secretive about like where I live. Like sometimes I'm a bit more vague, but that's just kind of unintentional. Like a local game store, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not me trying to intentionally be vague or like, oh, I live in this province. It's like, well, no, I'm not trying to be vague, but because you know, it's a big city. To be fair, like if I lived in a smaller town, right, then I might be a bit more like, yeah, maybe I don't want to say it then, just in case, right? But
yeah.
If you live in a big city, you know, it's like whatever. No one's gonna be able to dox me regardless, right? Not that I imagine anyone would try, but you know, Batman Vengeance looks fun.
Yeah, it does look cool.
I see what you did there.
Well, not intentionally, but it does look cool.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of it's Ubisoft, but there's space between Ubi and Soft.
Maybe that was before they made it one word when they did rebranding?
Maybe. That's interesting. I never actually noticed that before ever, huh? That could be a typo from the guy making this too.
That could be.
Maybe he thought it was like 2 words, or maybe it was back then. It's certainly possible. It's kind of talking about like being doxxed though. It's actually kind of funny because like a long time ago I had a friend that I played TF2 with. I haven't really talked to him much lately, but you know, life gets in the way. He's been really busy. I've been really busy, etc. But when we played TF2 together, it was actually really funny because I don't know how it came up, but I did tell my like address to all my friends. I don't remember why. I think it was like one of those things where like, yeah, fine, whatever. Here's my address. I'm not scared. If you want to send me some, go for it, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Can I rename? You don't care, right?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Can I rename one of my weapons to your address in TF2?"
What the fuck? That's weird.
I think he was trying to see like, if I would say no, right? Like if I would care. He's like, I'm doing it. And I'm not making fun of him. He literally just kind of talks like that. He's like, I'm doing it. And then he did it. He named one of his weapons by address. And like, it was really funny. And he would use it so people would actually see it like in game. Believe it or not, never got anything weird out of it or anything at all. But no, that's pretty funny. And now it doesn't
It's
matter
a
because I
little
don't live there
weird that you
anymore.
didn't get anything.
Well, yeah, right. Maybe people, like, to be fair, people might have thought it was like fake. Because it would put an address on a weapon in TF2, right?
Oh.
So, you know, that was really funny. Like I say, it doesn't matter now since I don't live at that address anymore, but like it was just really, like, looking back at it, it's pretty funny how, like, in a weird way I kind of did dox myself.
I mean, you kind of did, yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty funny. So I'm noticing a lot of these Batman games for the time too are all based off of Batman the Animated Series, aka one of the best Batman cartoons.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It was really popular at the time. And this would have been, I think, before Batman Begins came out?
I believe so. Dead to Rights. I got this one recently, didn't I? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this is one of the games that I found at local video game store, aka Next Wave. And I remember playing it a long time ago, and I was like, I'm sure no one would really hear about this game. And as you guys know, I like showing off kind of obscure-ish games that I know of. And I believe this would fall under that umbrella. Like, what do you think, Megan?
I mean, I would say this is probably pretty obscure. Yeah. It looks cool, though.
It does. I'm trying to think what makes it like really unique, because like I think this is the one where you have like a dog that you can command. They're not showing it in the demo, but I'm pretty sure Dead to Rights is that game. Oh, and then you got the classic slow-mo while you dive, because of course that was the thing at the time, because of the Matrix, presumably.
Yeah, I could see the Matrix making that very popular. Because didn't they also do that in, like, the Max Payne games?
They did. That was like one of the key things of Max Payne, I think, was I remember very specifically. It's like, oh, you can go into slow-mo on a dive roll, and being like, whoa, that's cool. A lot of games did that around this time, because you had Max Payne, you had Dead to Rights, you had like honestly, you had a lot of games in general, not even just like at the time, kind of be influenced by the Matrix in that regard, where slow-mo equals cool, right?
Yeah.
Because like even nowadays, I think there are still games with slow-mo just because it's cool, you know?
I mean, it's the rule of cool.
Yeah, exactly, right? And you can even look at Fear, which I believe is 2005, which has like a very similar thing, right?
Yeah.
Not with diving, but like going slow-mo and seeing like the bullets whiz past, right? That's cool.
Yeah, it's always fun.
I love how Fear is just like a complete action game, but with like a spooky aesthetic to it, you know? Because Fear is such a good action game if you want to play it like that.
It is, yeah.
Died. But yeah, I had a few games like that. Now, The Matrix, it's really funny just how one movie influenced so much for one thing specifically, which is slow motion, you know?
I know, right? That's pretty cool.
Because I'm trying to think of things that did it before The Matrix. I can't really think of anything, weirdly enough. I'm trying to think of movies that may have had slow-mo. Or like games that had slow-mo before like 99. Which still surprises me that The Matrix is the 99 movie. I always thought it was like a 2000s movie at least.
Yeah, I know, right? Honestly, it does feel like it should have come out a couple years later.
I'm pretty sure in Dead Traits you have a dog companion. I'm just really kind of confused because I remember Dead Traits being that. Dead Traits dog. Yeah, I even remember the name of the dog. I was thinking the whole time. I'm like, what's the name of the dog? Shadow? Nah, probably not. And I look it up and it is actually Shadow.
Hmm.
Oh, they have a whole backstory on the dog on the wiki. Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, I'll play Dead Raids at some point on stream, most likely, and then we'll see what it's like. We'll see if it is actually as good as I remember it being, because I remember it being pretty fun. When did Max Payne come out? Was that 2001? Or was that 99?
I want to say it was 2001 for the first one. I'm pretty sure.
So I'm trying to think what Max Payne may have influenced, because I'm sure Max Payne influenced a lot of games at the time as well. Like, I'm trying to think if it even had an influence on Dead to Raids. So Max Payne came out in 2001, July 23rd, 2001. Time Crisis 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I've heard Time Crisis 2 is really good.
I've heard that too. This is another like on-rail shooter, right? Is it?
I think so.
I always get like Time Crisis mixed up with something else. Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay, cool. Wait. It looks really good. Do you ever think we'll see like a resurgence of on-rail shooters?
I think it's possible we might as they become more popular. Like, I could see them transitioning into VR games.
True. Unreal might come back with VR. That's a good point.
Because, I mean, you already have, like, Pistol Whip is relatively close to that from what I understand, or you have stuff like Super Hot VR.
Super Hot VR, like, on-rail shooter, though? I thought you still had some control of, like, your movement.
Well, yeah, you still... Okay, I guess maybe it's not Unreal.
Yeah,
it's
not
more
really
like a first-person shooter game. But it's doing the slow-mo thing. It's cool.
It's kind of like driving your car and saying, like, oh, I'm on a train track. No, you can still move independently.
Rude.
Okay, it's not quite like that, but, you know, still. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But, yeah, I don't know. Because I don't know, I feel like games now are really pushing for open world freedom kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which is fair, because I really like those kind of games too. So I don't know if we'd ever go back to proper, like, on-rail shooter, unless, like you said, it's purely a VR thing, which I could see it thriving there. Okay, Vampire Knight.
I don't think I've seen this game before.
Another on-rail shooter? Interesting.
It seems like it.
Well, someone's getting fucked up. There you go. He's like, shoot everything. Save the lady. Save her. Save Ashley. Yeah, kind of a weird idea to play an on-rail shooter like on a controller, though, eh? 'Cause I don't know, I feel like games now are really pushing for open world freedom kind of stuff, right? Which I could see it thriving there. Okay, Vampire Knight. Another on-rail shooter? Interesting. Well, someone's getting fucked up. There you go. He's like, shoot everything. Save the lady. Save her. Save Ashley. Yeah, kind of a weird idea to play an on-rail shooter like on a controller, though, eh?
Yeah, I'd be kind of curious on how that would feel. I almost feel like I would probably think it feels awkward.
I mean, potentially. It might be alright. It depends how fast the enemies move at you and how fast you're able to move the cursor.
Yeah.
And how, like, precise they want you to be. Like, right now, this really doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad. And it's kind of nice that you could, I assume, use both sticks to do different guns.
Well, I was assuming that's another controller. For
Oh,
player 2.
maybe.
But that would be cool if you could do it for different guns. That would be pretty sick.
With dual wielding.
I mean, that would be cool. Silent Scope 2. This is like that, what's Silent Scope again? That's not the one that I always talk about with the arcade, right? Where is it?
No, I think you're thinking of House of the Dead?
No. Because, like, you have that SWAT sniper game from the arcade that I always say I want to buy eventually. If I ever want to own an arcade
which one
game.
that is.
Okay, fine, Megan.
Sorry.
I'll look it up. Because they do talk about House of the Dead, but... Okay, no, it is Silent Scope. They made a sequel for the PS2? That's kind of cool.
That is cool.
See, now, I will admit, though, it's still not as cool as, like, actually looking down the sniper scope to, like, shoot your gun, right? So even though I see this, I'm like, oh, I mean, yeah, it's the same game, but it actually lacks, like, the soul, right? Of, like, the arcade game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always talking about House of the Dead, but that one I don't really care to play, like, on the arcade specifically. But, like, with Sniper Scope or Silent Scope, I don't know, that one to me feels like it needs to be on an arcade machine. Which is why if I ever, like, had the money to get an arcade, that's one of the games I'd definitely get. Another on-rail shooter, though. And see, these aren't even just, like, arcade games. These are for the PS2. Although they have accessories and stuff for it, which is kind of neat. I guess this is when arcades were probably kind of starting to get phased out. And companies are trying to figure out, okay, how can we move that into, like, a console, right?
Probably, yeah.
Frogger the Great Quest. When they tried to give Frogger an actual plot.
Did this game do really bad?
I believe it did, yes. Maybe I should buy this game at some point.
I mean, you could. It would go relatively cheap, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. Like, I imagine it would. I could be wrong. But it'd be a good novelty.
It would be.
Because, like, it's interesting that they took Frogger, a game where you just, like, cross a road, right? Into, like, this, where it's an actual game with a plot. And
you know, it
gameplay.
almost looks like they were trying to turn it into a game similar to, like, Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of, actually. It does kind of give me that vibe, too. Yeah, I'm going to add that game to my list. Which is this? Ephemeral Fantasia?
Yeah.
Don't know if I've ever heard of this one.
I never have either.
A bit of an RPG kind of thing?
Yeah, it looks like it's a JRPG of some kind.
Okay, it's kind of funny. IGN gave the Frogger game a 3 out of 10, but Old Games Downloads gave it a 4.6 out of 5. and IMDb gave it a 5.3 out of 10. So it's still pretty bad, mind you. But so let me look up Ephemeral Fantasia. I kind of want to see what this game is about.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, actually.
Role-playing video game by Konami. Traditional role-playing turn-based battles with a variety of playable characters and skills available. There's a guitar mini-game that can be played several times throughout the course of the story.
Okay, that's funny.
Apparently, it's similar to Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask in that the story transpires over a constantly looping period of 5 days.
Okay.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
That does.
I might add this one to the list as well.
Yeah, I think I will add that one to my list.
Looks like it got pretty mediocre reviews, but I mean, I like the idea.
Yeah. I mean, if we could find it for a decent price, I would consider it. I just feel like a game like this might be kind of rare.
Might be. Oh, the X Games. We're talking about that when we're talking Tony Hawk, actually, and how popular skateboard games were. I like this is basically just like Tony Hawk, though, but Konami.
Yeah. They're like, oh, don't worry. Don't worry.
Don't
so
worry.
So similar.
Well, I guess while we're looking at this, then I'll look up the general price that... Oh, does it have a remake? Wait. Ephemeral Fantasia... Okay, never mind. All right. Let me have a look at the price. I'm just kind of curious. Because I'm not going to lie, I don't really care about the X Games video game. My ESPN NBA Tonight. It's kind of cool. See, back then, though, you still had like a lot of different sports games that weren't just EA, right? Which I think is pretty cool. Okay, so according to price charting, it completes like $27.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually not that expensive. I mean, granted, that's an American, but even then, that's like really not that
35?
much. Yeah. So, okay, maybe we should pick it up if we find it somewhere. We'll keep an eye out for it when we hit up local video game store.
Yeah. Also, Agent Under Fire.
That's
this game.
That's one you always talk about playing, right?
Yeah.
Because every time I bring up James Bond, Megan's like, "I played Agent Under Fire."
Well, that's the one I played the most. I probably played through the main story of the game. I don't know. I want to say like 5 times or so. We played a lot of the multiplayer as well.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
See, I remember playing this one a bit, actually. I'm pretty sure or did I just take a speed run? Maybe we watched the speed run at GDQ.
We probably watched the speed run. Because they called it Jingle Simulator.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so maybe I never played it. I might have, though. I did play a decent amount of James Bond games. So I might have played it. Or I might have just played another James Bond game and I'm confusing it, which is entirely possible. Maybe we should get this one sometime. Wait, do we have it?
I do not know. Could probably get it pretty easily. I think it's only like $10 or something.
So I suddenly make that list of games I own.
You do?
I still need to find the games that I'm currently missing, though. We'll find them.
Yeah.
I better find them. I better find them. I know some of them are pretty expensive. Like, I'm missing
I'm
at
sure
least
we'll find
2.
them.
I know I'm missing 2. 3, arguably. One of them I don't mind rebuying. Just in case. As I've talked about before on stream. As of right now, I still haven't found them. Oh no, Megan, I'm getting stressed now. No!
No, don't be stressed.
It's okay. Soon we'll have time and we'll give it a proper look. Or I can do it myself. You know, it's really interesting though, right? How like it still kind of does the old James Bond aiming, where you got to hit a button to bring out the target reticle.
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, yeah, that's like how GoldenEye did it, right?
Okay.
But now you know, it's on the PS2. They have the dual analog controller, right?
That's true.
But they still like kind of treating it like a classic James Bond game, I guess. I find that interesting. Kind of goes to show you that at the time, console FPS games still weren't really that standard.
No, not particularly. We're actually going through quite a bit of the game, to be honest here.
Yeah.
Of course, this switches over when I say that.
Aliens Colonial Marines. They had another game come out recently with that same title, didn't they?
I believe so. Something very similar, I think.
Aliens Colonial Marines. Yeah, they had one come out in 2013 with that exact same name.
Hmm.
I'm gonna see if the PS2 one actually came out. No, it was canceled.
Oh.
So see, that's why I was wondering, because like I knew a game came out recently, quote unquote, 2013, with that same title. So I was thinking, did they cancel it and just reuse the name? I guess they did.
That's kind of weird if this got canceled, considering it's this close to launch.
Yeah. You can see they have a reason for that. It was canceled October 2002 for unknown reasons.
Okay.
Several sources alluded technical issues being the main reason, with the beta at E3 2001 apparently running at a slow frame rate.
That's fair. Okay.
That's really interesting. I just find it weird that they recycled the name.
I mean, yeah, but to be fair, it never came out, so I could see them being like, oh, this name will work really well for our game recognition.
I mean, potentially.
Well, especially if it's supposed to be some kind of, like, reference or, like, trying to go into the fan base of the Aliens franchise.
I mean, maybe, but, like, I don't know. They could just call it, like, Alien and not include the Colonial Marines. I don't know. I just find it really interesting. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
who
like,
knows?
you know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you say recognizability, but, you know, if they want that, just use Alien, right? Use, like, the Alien name. I don't know. I just think it's neat. Right? Weird, but neat. Or maybe they just have a bag that they put like the name back into, and then they pulled it back out in 2013. I don't know, right? Oh boy, Ico or Eco. I've heard it pronounced both ways.
I have two, actually.
See, I say Ico. That's how I say it.
Say Eco.
Yeah. See, you and I are not the same. But that's what makes us great.
Yeah, it's more fun that way.
But yeah, I don't know. I just say Ico because that's how I heard other people saying it, and to me, it's like, well, it has an I, so you know, Ico, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like a pecan versus pecan situation. Yeah, I say pecan because it's a CAN, I believe.
Well, I would also call it pecan.
Yeah, not like CAWN. But also, to be fair, I think that is more of like a regional thing. So
Yeah, most likely.
or it's the thing Arceus versus Arceus. One's right and one's wrong. Arceus is right. I'm sorry, Pokemon people.
I like saying Arceus, okay?
I'm sorry, Pokemon people. Legends Arceus really kind of turned me around on that one. Because I used to say Arceus like all the time. And then I started playing Legends Arceus, and it's like, oh, well, you know, it's not the Arse phone. It's the Arc phone. That makes a lot more sense.
I mean, it does. Maxima goes to glory.
Yeah. Yeah, just going back to Echo real fast, just because, yeah, I didn't really say much about it. A game that would go on to be super legendary. Absolutely. Although one I've never played. So Maximo. What do you know about Maximo? Because I know Maximo from the box art, funnily enough.
I've seen the box art quite a few times, and I believe I had a jam pack that had one of the demos, but I've never played it.
I've never played it either. Like, I don't know if it's good. Admittedly, I don't really have much interest in playing it, but I think it looks interesting.
It does look interesting.
Like, I do kind of like the aesthetic of it too, right? Like, it seems cartoony, but not like overly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I remember with the box art too. Is the box art looked pretty cartoony. Kind of reminded me of like DBZ, interestingly enough. Yeah, because doesn't Maximo kind of look like a DBZ character?
A little bit.
Yeah, okay, a little bit. Maybe not like a ton. Still kind of gives off that like anime vibe to me, though. And back when loading screens took forever.
Yeah, I know, right?
Ace Combat 4. Oh, I love Ace Combat 4. Recently, well, I say recently, like a couple of years ago, went back and played it. Loved it. Really good. Still quite different from from Ace Combat 5 and 0. But really good story. Good gameplay. Just really, really nice. And honestly, if you want to play 5 or certainly 7, I would definitely recommend playing this one before playing 7 for reasons which I'm not going to specify. Leave that a mystery. But I would recommend playing this game. It's very, very good. And the story is very solid. And what happens in it may have certain effects in later games. Not to the point where it's like, oh my god, I don't know what's happening. But just more of a, oh my god, I know what they're talking about. You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those cool things that I appreciate, you know? Twisted Metal Black. Yeah, see, you can see how they got a lot more, like, kind of edgy and mature, like, already, right?
Yeah.
Like, it looks much more gritty. I think all the cutscenes combined, I think it's over, like, a couple hours long as well. Because I think, I may have looked it up. I don't recall. But yeah, a lot of the stories in Twisted Metal Black are actually pretty messed up. Like, one of them actually really creeped me out when I played it when I was younger as well. Nah, so all the cutscenes are like an hour long, apparently, if you combine them. I guess that's pretty standard.
I mean, that is pretty long.
Because, like, they have this one story for an unlockable character that you get. And it's like it's really fucked up, right? So it's about, like, this little kid who had a dad that he, like, was really close with, and his dad drove a taxi, right?
Yeah.
And then one day, like, his dad picks up someone, and that person, like, shoots his dad in the back of the head and kills them instantly. And the kid's, like, in grief, and the kid's, like, really sad and really messed up. So then the kid gets an idea, because he's, like, a tech genius. So he puts like a thing in his dad's head, so he's able to control his dad via a remote. And so you have his dad's corpse driving a cab while his son sits in the passenger seat while they go and do the Twisted Metal tournament so he can win and revive his dad. You know what I mean?
Pretty dark.
Like, yeah, right? Like, isn't that really dark and actually pretty messed up?
Yeah. I can see why it probably dropped in popularity a little bit.
And, like, the imagery they have, like, it's done kind of like a cartoony, like, comic book style for that one. But, like, the imagery of just, like, his dad in the front seat, like, as a corpse is really, really weird and really creepy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Twisted Metal Black, like I'm pretty sure that's why they called it Black as well, because they wanted to make it very clear that this is a much more mature kind of Twisted Metal.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, and this one we've seen because US Navy SEALs. And we talked about this one when we were watching the conference. Very innovative, right? I don't know if we saw this bit actually.
Not sure.
Yeah, because we saw this, but I think they cut it when they went to the dudes like at the booth. So we'll actually watch that bit.
Another element that we're really excited to introduce is the online capabilities of SOCOM US Navy SEALs. Maintains the team focus as the players form groups of SEALs and terrorists and work together. Our people playing as a SEAL team, and on your right is the terrorists. Each online map has its own objective that both sides need to work together in order to combat. Right now you're seeing a 6-player map. The final game will have 16 people from around the world.
So I kind of miss back when they used to have like real demos of people just playing the game, right?
Yeah.
Hurdy-gurdy. Haven't heard of this one.
Neither have I.
Because like, I don't know, it kind of invokes like, actually, if I may pause for a moment just so we don't miss hurdy-gurdy. Because like it kind of invokes, you know, kind of like what Rainbow Six Siege actually kind of was. So SOCOM that they're showing there, they're just like dudes just kind of playing the game, right?
Yeah.
Just normally. But then you think to like when Siege was announced, it's like really cinematic and okay, guys, we're going in. We're going in at like this point. Okay, so okay, I'm throwing smoke, right? That's like so unrealistic. You just have dudes like standing there silently playing the game. That's probably much more realistic, right?
Probably.
Like, I don't know. I kind of prefer this to what we end up getting later with the. This is how the multiplayer actually is, guys. It's actually like this. And people are actually going to be planning stuff out instead of just trying to get the most kills themselves while not coordinating, right?
Oh, so young, so naive.
See, the funny thing is, I didn't even hate Siege. I actually thought Siege was pretty fun when I played it. But I don't know. I just don't like demos that fake like what the multiplayer actually is, right? Even if it is funny with Havoc and everything.
Honestly, that's kind of the problem with a lot of like game demos and stuff we see nowadays, is it's hard to tell what is actually real and what's something the developers just made.
Yeah.
As like a fake demo.
Hurdy-gurdy here seems pretty interesting though, eh? Not to...
Yeah.
Like, I assume you're done. If you're worried, I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Please feel free to continue. I just don't know when they're going to cut away from hurdy-gurdy. So like, I want to at least get some thoughts in on hurdy-gurdy as well. And of course, if you want to say more about, like, devs faking multiplayer stuff, we can always pause like I do when I speak.
I mean, it's okay. I don't know, I just remember seeing that a lot in, like, the previous generation. The biggest one was probably Anthem, where the entire demo didn't even exist. It was all faked.
Yeah, you're right. I remember that, too. Yeah, I don't know. That's, what? Go ahead.
I would say, so I'm a little skeptical of just a lot of stuff we see, even in trailers now.
Yeah, like, nowadays, I would definitely be wary. Back then, though, they seemed like they had a bit more integrity in that regard. So you can kind of trust it a bit more, right? So apparently, just kind of looking at hurdy-gurdy here, apparently it got mixed to positive reviews, which is pretty cool. Strategy, puzzle, platforming video game involves herding animals, navigating objectives, and solving puzzles. Has a collective variety of herding tools. There are alternate pathways to reach the end. That sounds fun.
It does sound fun.
Oh, he's playing the flute to bring the monkeys around. See, this seems interesting.
It does seem like it was trying something a little different, yeah.
A young apprentice on an epic quest to defeat his father's nemesis. Okay. You know, a game I actually really enjoyed, but I heard a lot of people hated?
What?
That one Sheep, Dog, and Wolf, I think it's called. It's the Looney Tunes one where you play as like the wolf.
Wile E. Coyote?
Well, technically yes, but technically no. It's the same model, but technically it's not actually Wile E. Coyote. I don't know. Don't worry about it. But you know, the one where he's like trying to always steal the sheep from Sam the sheepdog, right?
Yeah, no, I do remember that one. We had a demo of that one. We actually played that a lot.
Yeah, see, I remember finding it to be really fun. It kind of reminds me of that. I heard that people didn't like that one apparently. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I heard. Is some people didn't really like it. But I remember finding it fun. I liked it. I don't know, it was neat kind of playing like a Looney Tunes cartoon. It really felt like it to me, you know? Even if Sam the Sheepdog was a little scary when you got in his vision and he just like charges at you with his like train sounds and he like beats you up. It's funny. I liked it. Maybe I'll add that one to my list. So Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2. I've never played a Legacy of Kain game, as I've said before, I believe.
Yeah, I would like to own these on PS2 at some point if I could find them.
How much do you think they'd go for?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure. Just because of the notoriety of the game, I could see them going for like 50, 60 bucks. But I don't think I've ever actually seen it while we've been out.
I don't know, actually. I don't know if we have. Well, according to price charting, complete, it's about 20 bucks.
Oh, that's a lot cheaper than what I thought.
Arguing as a kid.
Legacy of Kain 2. According to price charting, so once again could be wrong, is about $17.32. So they're pretty cheap, actually.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird, right? You see some of these games that have like a lot of legacy and variety, and you're like, okay, they must be at least a couple $100. It's like, now they're 20. It's like, oh, really? And then you have a terrible game, which might go for like 500, you know?
Well, yeah.
Was there a game that like, yeah, what the hell is Thunderstrike Operation Phoenix? Huh.
Yeah, I've never heard of this one.
They went through that one really quick because I saw it and then I was going to talk about it and then it like went away. So it's like a helicopter game. It looks like your fairly average kind of basic helicopter game, to be fair.
Yeah.
Project Eden. So you're like in a robot suit? This seems weird. Commandos 2. Men of Courage. This one, you know, this one actually looks kind of neat. I like the style.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool.
I couldn't really tell you what you're supposed to do. I guess you're a commando. Legacy of Kain Blood Omen? Were there two different Legacy of Kains? Wait, we're just talking about Legacy of what? Hold on. I'm very confused. Is Blood Omen a separate thing for Legacy of Kain? Or is that just like... What? I'm very confused. Okay, it's just called Blood Omen 2. But then you have Blood Omen Legacy of Kain? Were there just two games that had the Legacy of Kain title to them?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy, dude. Because you have Blood Omen Legacy of Kain on the PS1, but it's not related to Legacy of Kain. Okay, anyway. Enough of that. Time for Jack and Daxter.
Yeah!
I saw the sports games. To be fair, probably nothing to say about them. But Jack and Daxter, I'm sure we could say a lot about. Probably one of your favorite games on the PS2?
It's definitely one of my favorite games on the PS2. One of the very first ones I played too. So it is at least a decent amount of nostalgia, but the game holds up so well. Because like I only played it, I want to say it was maybe about 2 years ago I played it for you.
Yeah.
And it just felt really good. I was playing the PS4 version, the downloadable version. And while I've heard that Jak 2 and 3 kind of have a bit of issues on the PS4 version, the first game played absolutely flawlessly.
Yeah, like from what I remember playing it back when it came out, it felt really good. And as I believe we said the other day when we did the PS2 showcase, honestly holds up really well from like a graphic perspective as well.
It does. Like, it still looks really good just because of the art style and the way they did the animation.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the one we saw. Yeah, like beautiful environments, beautiful characters, really well done. Something that Megan's talked to me about actually, and a video that I saw as well from which one is it? Playframe, right?
Yeah.
Because they over at Playframe they did a really good video on like how Jak and Daxter like does its movements like with squash and stretch and everything, right?
Yeah.
And like just in general like how they do it and what makes it good, and it's really informative. Highly recommend it.
It was a very informative video if you're trying to learn about animation.
Yeah. Or just even like the little things that you might not notice while playing a game too, right? Because I think he talks about like the idle animation for Jak and Daxter and how like he goes from a kind of energetic like step as he's idle to kind of like he's finally not moving, right?
Yeah.
Which is something I never thought about, but it actually does add a lot to it. Yeah, like when he's doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like the little standing step. Oh, it's really cool stuff. I would like to actually play Jak and Daxter again sometime. Because I've never actually beaten it myself, I don't think. Yeah. No, I never actually beat it myself. Like, I've seen speedruns of it. And I've seen Megan play it. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. I would say I would like to see you play it sometime, whether you do it on stream or if we just do it whenever.
I mean, true.
I really want to get around to replaying Jak 2 and 3 sometime, though. It's been a long time.
You should. Man 2002, we saw this one. This is still at the presentation. Okay, S6 Tricky. We saw this one at the presentation as well, didn't we? Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
And NBA Street. Yeah, this one they were just showing off a bunch of their stuff. I don't think we saw Sloodstorm 2.
We did not. You know, I like how they have the little animation of him, like, hanging onto the sled when he jumps. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, no!
Yeah, skeeter racing is a thing, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Which is an interesting idea to me. Because for anyone that hasn't actually seen like a skidoo, they're pretty thick and pretty heavy. They're pretty big vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay, Final Fantasy X. I've gushed enough about Final Fantasy X during the actual conference. It was really good. Love Final Fantasy X.
It was really good.
One of my favorite Final Fantasies of all time.
It was a really good game.
Devil May Cry. We saw this one as well, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was like right at the beginning of this video. At least some of it.
Some of it, but I think we also saw it at the conference, right?
I believe so.
Same with Silent Hill 2. I believe we saw this one at the conference. Which, really good Silent Hill. Absolutely love it. Yeah, because I remember that. Because she's talking about sound, and then they just so happen to come across the loudest, most soundiest enemy in the game. Where it like falls over, and it's like me. Yeah, it's just the opening. You know what? Actually, I don't know if this bit was in there. Was it?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, because it cuts here where she says, "See, I'm real," which isn't in the. Oh wait. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure that's in a different spot. See, this is interesting though, because this is the actual opening movie of the game, right?
Yeah.
But it's really interesting because when you play the game. Oh, okay, no, that is different. No, yeah, this is different. This is the opening movie. But what movie? What song did I have playing? Wait, hold on. I want to see if it's actually the same song. No, it's not. That's a different song. Huh. I've listened to this opening to this game so many times that I can tell you what's different and what's not. Yeah, really good game. I love the opening too. It's really good. But the interesting with Silent Hill 2 opening is when you get it on the PS, when you play it for the first time, right? If you watch it, it has the music, but it has the character voices muted. Which makes some of it really kind of weird because they'll have these scenes where like the characters are clearly talking in the opening, but you can't hear them. Right?
That is a little weird.
But when you beat the game, then yeah, kind of like that actually. But when you beat the game, then the characters talk. Right? And it's their way of like avoiding potential spoilers from the cutscenes that you see.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so I find it interesting that here they're like, okay, well, let's just have it be with the voices. I don't think any of these matter in terms of spoilers. So, I mean, and to be fair, if you watch it without any context, it probably wouldn't spoil anything for you anyway. If they had the voices on, I think they did it just as a precaution. You know?
Yeah.
Look, it's the sexy nurses that appear in all Silent Hill media after the movie. Even though it doesn't make any sense for any other Silent Hill besides 2, but we'll get to that when I play through Silent Hill 2. Which will probably actually be soon since the remake's coming out.
Probably. So imagine you're going to want to play through at least Silent Hill 1 and 2 before it comes out.
I mean, in theory, I could just probably play through 2. I'm going to play through 1. But 1 and 2 are pretty unconnected. So if you wanted to, you could just play through 2, and I don't think it would really matter.
Oh, right, because it's 2 and 3 that are kind of connected, right?
1 and 3 are kind of connected.
Oh, 1 and 3. Okay, 2 is the oddball out. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, I believe 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 are like the only games that are really connected. The other ones are just kind of like connected by reference, right? Because I think in Silent Hill 4, I believe they have a character with the same last name as like the main character from 2. So it's like, oh, are they related? It's like, well, who knows, right? But I think most of the Silent Hills besides 1 and 3, I think they do the kind of Final Fantasy-ish thing, except, I mean, it still takes place like in the same town. But like they're overall unconnected. I don't know. It's interesting like that. I doubt I'll skip 1 though, because I do like 1. I'll skip this as well. Because I've talked a lot about MGS2. It's really good. It's a really good game. Love it. Man, yeah, they had a lot of love for MGS2. I mean, it's probably the main draw for the C3, to be honest.
Probably.
I'm like you. I have no name. They're still going. This is still the opening to MGS2. Like, this is actually like the proper opening to it. And before the rest of this is literally just MGS2. Wow, yeah, they're even showing you like the first boss fight. Okay, Bloody Roar, here we go.
Bloody Roar.
Was Bloody Roar a fighting game?
Yeah.
Man, I always forget that.
Yeah, I didn't play a lot of 3. We did play 1 at our cousin's house, and I think we rented 2 a couple times. But yeah, it's a fighting game, and like you go into your combos, and each of the characters can like transform into some kind of animal hybrid.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Because I remember when we played the demo for Bloody Roar 2, we could play either as this guy that turned into like a giant bug, or this girl that turned into a tiger.
Okay, that's pretty neat. So her, basically, because I'm pretty sure she's a tiger.
I don't think it's her, no. I think it's a different character, because it was more like a Chinese tiger than an anime cat.
Oh, okay, fair. Oh, bunny.
Yeah, there's the bunny girl. I don't know if that's the same character from 1, but I do remember seeing that when we played 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very unique idea.
It is. I don't know if Bloody Roar 3 did that well, though, because I don't know if it has any games after that.
Probably not. I mean,
I
good
don't know,
job on trying for the unique idea, though.
Well, yeah, maybe they just didn't have enough unique stuff to really change between 2 and 3, but I don't know the games well enough to say.
I'm noticing how they're all women, too. They're all girls.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of girls in this one. Maybe it's just the guy picking the girls, but...
I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like someone... You insert a poorly disguised, like, fetish trope here. You know?
Yeah.
Someone on the dev team had something that they were thinking about when they were making this.
I mean, it's clearly anime girl. Cat.
Well, yeah, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of thing. Like, these are all... Listen, the fact that they're all women is what's given me, you know, some thoughts on this, right? Where they were when they were thinking of, like, okay, well, we're making a fighting game where they turn into animals. You know, like, what will be the draw? There you go. Cat Girl wins.
Yeah.
I do like how she has a different win animation depending on if it's like she's a cat or not.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So Klonoa 2, I believe, is the Klonoa game I played.
Okay.
Back when I was kind of at that point in my life where I was like, it's a 2D-ish game. That's a bit weird. I'll just go play GTA or something, you know? Right? It's a 2D game where you're stuck on like a rail. I don't get to explore anything. Man, that's weird.
You know, I love how judgmental like younger Matthew is. It's so funny.
A little bit. I was a fair bit more judgmental when it came to video games, at least, and shows, than I would be now, right?
Well, now you're open to pretty much watch or play anything.
Yeah, right? Like, I feel like I learned as I got older that, well, you know, you shouldn't judge stuff, right? So sometimes what you think might not be great actually could turn out to be pretty good.
Yeah.
So, you know, younger me was just an idiot in that regard.
Honestly, this looks like it'd be a lot of fun.
It does.
Because, like, I've never played Klonoa games, but I don't know. I just like the whole changing between different layers in the background and stuff this one seems to be doing.
No, it is pretty cool.
And the art style looks really good, too.
It does. But, you know, and an interesting thing to kind of think about, at least to me, is that you look at Klonoa and you know what he kind of reminds me of?
What?
A Sonic character.
Yeah, I guess even with the platforming, it does remind me a little bit of Sonic, just not quite as fast.
Yeah, but like he kind of has that same kind of aesthetic, right?
He does. And before Klonoa replaces Tails.
I mean, that would be something. I mean, if, like, honestly, if Sonic Team had the rights to Klonoa, I could see a pretty cool crossover coming out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know who has the rights to Klonoa now. Maybe it's still Namco?
I would assume it's still Namco, but...
It was like, what was the last Klonoa game we got? Was that literally Clona 2? Oh, no, both games were remastered in 2022. Huh.
Yeah, because they had a remaster that came out relatively recently.
Well, that's pretty cool. Maybe he's making a comeback.
Yeah, it looks like it's still Namco that published the remake.
Come on, Namco, work with Sega. Man, I want to see like video game crossovers at some point. Like, and not have the companies be
cool.
like super protective of their IP. Like, be protective, yeah. But like, give me a Roger Rabbit kind of situation, right? Like, give me Clona and Sonic. You know, give me more like Crash Bandicoots and Spyros and stuff. You know.
Yeah. No, it would be fun.
Give me like an actual Jack and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank crossover.
I mean, they got like halfway there and deadlocked because there was a Jack and Daxter or Jack costume you could use, like a skin, so you could play as Jack.
See, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think we need to have the characters like actually interact with each other somehow, and you can make it work, right? Like, I feel like you could make it work somehow.
Probably.
So I don't know. I just want some of that. Like, I think it'd be really cool, you know, to have like an eventual era where video games can like have actual crossovers, where it benefits both companies. You know.
Oh.
Dead.
He got eaten.
He did. He did get eaten pretty hard.
Oh. Yeah. No, I think it'd be fun. I don't think we're really gonna get a lot of crossovers anymore, though.
Probably not. Like, I don't think it could happen. But it would be really neat if it did. Like to be fair, you know what? All it takes is one company to do it and have it be successful for other companies to follow.
I mean, to be fair, the Dead Cells dev has been doing that a lot.
I mean, true.
Like, I don't know if, like, the AAA companies would really take it seriously considering they're an indie company, but they have done a lot of crossovers with their characters.
I mean, that's true. I think we talked about that when we saw the Nintendo, the last, like, was it Direct? No, the Wholesome Direct, right?
Yeah.
Where we saw some crossover of some of the games, and it got me thinking. I was like, yeah, you know, a lot of indie devs will do that because they're all about helping each other out and everything, and like collabing, which I think is really cool. But yeah, AAA devs, not so much yet, and I can kind of understand it. But at the same time, I don't know, if one of them legitimately went out and did it and had to be success, I could see it being a thing that other devs would probably try doing, right?
I mean, maybe, because I mean, at least some companies seem to be a little bit more lenient about letting other companies develop stuff, like Ubisoft with the Star Wars game, or even Nintendo with Pokemon Snap and Namco.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see it happening more and more.
Like, thinking about it now, though, I don't know what games I'd ask for a crossover on, besides like Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter, right? Because like I can't think of anything. Because like, who would you pair like say Nathan Drake with? Yeah.
Lara Croft.
You know what? Actually, you know what? Yes, actually, that would be good. That's actually a genius idea. Yeah, see, pair him with Lara Croft, right? Lara, excuse me. Pair him with Lara Croft. Yeah.
I mean, that'd be funny. It's just like, oh, they're going out to the Mayan temple to go find some treasure, and he runs into Laura.
Yeah, right? Like, just something cool like that.
That would be fun. I doubt it would ever happen, but it would be fun. Honestly, at this point, I would just be happy with a new Uncharted game.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I have to think about what crossovers I would want in a video game. And of course, anybody else, if you see this and you want to comment on it, you certainly can. Because I'd be curious, actually, what other people would like to see. If video game crossovers were more of a thing, or if they do eventually start becoming a thing, who would you want to see, like what game characters would you want to see cross over? You know? I think it's kind of a neat thought. And I don't mean in like a fighting game kind of thing, like how Smash does or how PlayStation All-Stars did. I mean in like a proper video game, right?
Yeah.
Where the characters like interact with each other and have a dialogue. I'm trying to think who I could pair Master Chief with, but nothing's coming to me. Shepard. Mass Effect.
Shepard would definitely be the most logical one. I was gonna say Joel from The Last of Us.
Joel, Master Chief, and Joel from The Last of Us. Okay, that's definitely a big. That's definitely a crossover I wouldn't expect. But sure.
But Shepard makes a lot more sense, or Mass Effect in general.
I don't know. It'd be cool, or like Master Chief and Samus from Metroid.
Oh, see, that would be interesting. Mega Man and Samus?
Mega Man and Samus would be interesting. I don't know. I just want AAA video game crossovers. Just give them to me. I love crossovers and stuff, and I love continuity and things like that. I want it. Give it to me, please.
Oh, you know what I would want to see?
What?
Kratos from God of War with, I believe her name is Naruko from Heavenly Sword.
Ah, that would be a good one. That would be a really good one.
Honestly, I would like to see a new Heavenly Sword game if the devs still have the rights. I think it'd be cool.
Maybe one day. I've never played that game. I would like to.
I played a decent amount of it. I never finished it, but it was a really cool hack and slash game.
So what do you think of Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec, by the way? I think it looks pretty neat.
I think it looks really good.
Yeah. Like, not to get off our topic of crossovers, but, you know, just kind of looking at the cars driving in the rain kind of made me really think, this actually looks pretty good for a PS2 driving racing game, right?
Yeah, no, honestly, like, the car models are starting to become more detailed. The lighting looks really cool. Like, they did a really good job with this at the time.
You know, it's going to be really crazy, though, when we get there.
Huh.
When they announce the PS3, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because like, because right now we're seeing more retro style games, but I think the biggest leap in terms of graphics was definitely like PS2 to PS3.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too.
Like now, like admittedly to me, I could look at PS4 and PS5 and I can tell that PS5 is better, but at the same time, you know, it's not like, wow, oh my god, super good, right? Like it's not like blow me away better, right?
Yeah.
But you know, PS2 to PS3, yeah, it's like, whoa, holy crap, right? Like that's, in my opinion, such a big leap between two consoles, you know?
I mean, yeah. I'd also argue that PS3 to PS4 also was a pretty huge leap, too.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like, obviously, some games would utilize it better. I just remember seeing a lot of games on PS4. Ones that come to the top of my head would be, like, Until Dawn, or, like, the Spyro Reignited trilogy,
true.
or, like, Ratchet & Clank 2016. And I just remember seeing these games and thinking they looked amazing compared to what I was used to on PS3. Not that the PS3 games look bad. At least, like, the later ones. Some of the early ones have aged quite a bit, but they're still fun.
No, for sure. I think,
but yeah, there's not really as much between PS4 and PS5.
Yeah. Well, I think part of why I say that with the PS2 specifically, and why I'm actually bringing it up during Gran Turismo, is because like, you look at this, right? It doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good, but like you can tell the textures are still that kind of blurry in some spots, like, and it doesn't really look photorealistic, right? Like, oh, is that it? Are we done? Man, that ended a lot quicker. Ended a lot quicker than I thought it would. But you know, like photorealistic, and you know, what was I saying? Shoot, where was I in my thing? Okay, anyway, yeah, it doesn't really look super photorealistic on the PS2. You can still tell, like at the time, yeah, you'd probably have a lot of people saying like, oh, it looks so real. But you know, in hindsight, now it's like, okay, well, now you can still see kind of the blur. You can still tell it's like a texture. It's a bit blurry in spots. You know, it's not like super fantastic, right?
Yeah.
But then, like, if you were to take this Gran Turismo, or even like whichever Gran Turismo comes out after this, and go on and show like a PS3 game with a car, which I'm pretty sure they will actually.
Yeah.
Because I want to say when the PS3 came out, they did demo some of the graphics with like Gran Turismo. And then it's like, oh, you can see like the detail and you can see the shine and you can like go deep into the car and like look at the engine and stuff, right? And I got to think, I'm like, you wouldn't be able to do that in a PS2 Gran Turismo, would you? Yeah, like yeah, that's a pretty big leap if you really think about it. Or hell, even going from like like MGS3 on PS2, which we'll see eventually, to MGS4 on PS3, right?
Yeah.
And it's like once again pretty big jump. Like I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking about it, and to me, like I don't know, it's just I don't know. I don't know. I'll be curious to see how I'll feel about it when we get there, because obviously we'll have the games from yesteryear to kind of compare it all to, right? Because like when did the
Yeah.
PS3 come out? When was it announced?
I believe it came out for like holiday 2006.
Okay, so we still have a little while before we get there. So we're not even at
Yeah.
like peak PS2 graphics yet.
No, I'd say peak PS2 graphics would have been like 2004, 2005. So
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong, and maybe it won't be as much of a leap as what I'm thinking. Because maybe PS2 will look really good by the time the PS3 gets announced. Because that's usually how like it works with game consoles, right? Like they'll look good when they come out, but they get better as people know how to utilize the tools better.
yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to see. But I'm curious. I feel like it'll be a pretty big leap, or it'll be kind of like going from the Super Nintendo to the N64, right? Where it's like, whoa. I guess that was a pretty big leap as well, huh? Like graphically, I mean.
Yeah, no, that honestly they've done quite a few changes between generations, like especially early on. Like even the difference between the NES and the Super NES and the N64 to GameCube, like they're all very different and you can clearly see upgrades as you go along. We've kind of just gotten to a point where like aside from raising textures or like how many models are on screen or like how many animations come out, we're not really going to get anything that looks much better than what we got with PS5 or Xbox Series X games
Mhm.
until we get like better looking VR stuff. That's probably going to be where we see the biggest changes over the next couple years.
Probably. I can agree with you on that one. So, what do you think of the games you've seen here? Any like like I guess it was all PS2, wasn't it?
Yeah, this entire thing was PS2 because the other one didn't have like really any PS2.
Man, that's crazy, dude. PS2 had like think about it, like the last video and all the other ones like that we've seen have been divided between like four-ish different companies, right? And the last one
Yeah.
was like divided in by like 3 or 4 different companies. This one was all PS2. Really goes to show you like how many PS2 games are getting pumped out, right? Like how
Well, there
popular a
was a
console it
lot.
was.
And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the devs who were developing for the Dreamcast maybe got convinced by Sony to develop for the PS2 instead.
Potentially, I could see that. Like if they didn't move to Xbox or something, I could see them moving to PS2.
Yeah. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sony was also working harder to coerce publishers to work with the PS2, especially when they saw how popular it was, because there were people just buying it, like we talked about last time, literally just to have a DVD player. Maybe you'll go buy a game or something later to try it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Very popular console. It went everywhere. Lots of people picked it up. Like I said, even just for the DVD player sometimes. Because I think it was even cheaper than a DVD player at the time. Or am I wrong?
Uh,
Because I'm not too sure how much DVD players were at the time. I want to say it wasn't that far off, but I could also be wrong.
I don't think it was necessarily that far off because I don't remember exactly when, but I know there was a period where you could buy like a portable DVD player was around like I think about $150, and that would have been a couple years after the PS2 had come out. So I think for a standalone DVD player, it probably would have been at least $100, which if you're buying a DVD player and you can get a console for like a little bit more, where most people are gonna get the console so they can maybe do something else with it later too.
That is true, yeah.
Even if it's just playing their old PlayStation 1 games, because it was backwards compatible.
It was, yeah, like the first console to do that. Because, Nintendo didn't.
Well,
Uh,
Nintendo was never gonna do that with the cartridges.
well, no, but like that I feel like also kind of shows that they made the right call by using discs, you know? Much
Yeah,
easier to
no, it
make it
definitely makes
backwards
sense.
compatible.
And like as we'll see later on when Nintendo comes out with the DS, you could see that the DS could play Game Boy Advance games, it could play Game Boy Color games, but then you move to like the 3DS or later DS models, and it can only play Game Boy Advance or DS games.
Yeah, okay. We'll
So
definitely have to keep an eye out for that when DS starts to make it onto the scene as
yeah,
well.
so
I'm
they
sure they'll
definitely
talk about
tried
that.
that. I don't know if they will do that with the Switch whenever we get a new console, but we'll have to see.
I know we talked about this before. I really, really feel like they'll be making a big mistake if they don't. You know?
Yeah, I
Uh,
feel like they'll get a lot more people to buy the console if they have backwards compatibility with the Switch games, kind of like how they did with DS and 3DS.
yeah, because I don't know, man. It's gonna be hard for them to go from the Switch. And if they do the typical Nintendo thing of completely trying something entirely new, I don't know. I don't think they can do that. I think the Switch is kind of like peak, you know, for
Yeah,
what you can really do with a game console. Where it's like portable, like not in terms of like, graphically or anything. I know the Switch isn't as powerful as like a PS5 or an Series X, right? But peak is in like what you can do with it. You can pick it up, you can take it anywhere very easily. You can play it handheld, play it on a TV. If they go away from that, I think that's going to be a really big mistake, you know?
yeah, that's fair.
So I think they kind of need to stay stuck with how the Switch is. Like, hell, the Switch is making Sony make their own thing on the go, right? Even
Yeah,
though it looks stupid. They made Sony do something, right? They made them literally make a peripheral to do the same thing. And Valve did it. So I mean, clearly people thought Nintendo did a really good job and they had a really good idea. So I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe all these comments will age like milk later whenever the Switch 2 is actually announced, if it even is called the Switch 2. But I'm
yeah.
I'm telling you, if they don't make it the same, I really think people are going to be upset. Because
I could see that.
because I really think what they have now is actually really smart.
Like,
Anyway,
I could see them doing a different design for it, but yeah, they probably won't move too far away from the portable console you can also play on the TV.
yeah, like I mean, like they're like probably upgrade it, right? Put like more powerful stuff in it. But yeah, I don't think they can really go away from it. I don't think they could. Like with the Wii, like at least we're going on a bit of a tangent now. We'll probably on the video soon, but
Yeah,
to like because with the Wii, it's like motion control was cool, but the novelty wore off, right? Like relatively quickly, to be honest. Um, and so it's like, did that really need to get carried over? Well, no, not really. The Wii U, I mean, the handheld like screen.
hmm
Nah, don't really need to carry over the fact that it's a controller, but you can kind of like the handheld part, right? Of like a thing we can kind of look at. Let's turn that into the whole console, right? It's like, okay, so you don't really need to carry over the Wii U, but you can kind of carry over the idea of like a handheld thing. And now you have the
yeah,
Switch. So, where do you go from here, right? Because I know Nintendo likes to be different. They like to be unique with literally everything they do.
yeah,
But I don't think they can do that. I really don't. I think they need to be stuck with how the Switch is. Like make it more powerful and stuff, sure, but I think it has to remain the way it is if they want it to continue being popular.
yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see whenever Nintendo announces it. I don't think it'll be for like another year or two at the very least. But who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Maybe this will age like milk too. I have no clue. Anyway, I guess that's it. Hey.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of good games. Sony's really good. I believe I have a video that'll show off the show floor. I'll need to double check and make sure I do. But if I do, then we'll be coming back and we'll be taking a look at the show floor. I'm pretty sure I have
Yeah.
a video for that, or maybe like a couple that I can stitch together and show that off. But I don't think we're going into 2002 quite yet. Quite yet. We'll
I
be
guess
there
we'll
soon.
have to see what we have for next time.
Indeed, we will. But for now, I guess that is it. So thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We hope you all enjoyed. But for now, it is time we cue the outro. So frag out, and we shall catch you guys later.
Bye.